today. It is on and popping. I'm telling you, it is going. Listen, this is going to be real. I got my girl, Real Rika. I got my boy PML, Big Monte Lies, the man, the myth, the legend. And listen, And so, listen, it's time to get this party started.
Let's get it started.
Before I go too far, because we got a hot topic, man, that I kind of had to call an audible tonight. Last night on Facebook, and I hit that in a minute. Man, listen, if you're online watching us on YouTube, listen, my book it's official. Book in my hand.
Yeah.
Book in my hand. What if I had a father? Yes. Make that fake clap laugh. There we go. Give it a roar or something. And look, I'm telling you, what if I had a father, the man I never knew? Look, it is out. It is official. Your boy is about to go on tour. Yes. He's about to travel the world. Yes. And this mission on fatherlessness is real. Look, if you haven't ordered a copy, look, you can go to Amazon. In fact, go to my website, dingbooks.com. dingbooks.com. Go to my website. Look, you can order as many copies as you want. I'm telling you, it's going to be a blessing. In fact, I'm going to just read you a real quick piece to it. Is that cool, y'all? I'm going to read you. This is the first time I opened it and actually read from the book. Wow. I mean, this is so surreal to me. I'm looking through this book. It's blessed me. Tears is ready. It's really, tears is like, oh my goodness. But let me mess with you real quick. This first chapter is called Fatherless Child. And oh goodness. Let me read you this one part that I really like. It says, most of my friends had a father. Whenever I saw them share father-son moments with each other, I was reminded that I was fatherless. It didn't matter whether those times were good or bad. My friends knew who their fathers were. Their fathers didn't necessarily see them every day, which had to be a pain all in itself. Most of those fathers had other families and would only come to visit their child on certain occasions or days. But my friends looked at their fathers like they were superheroes. Most of the time, the only thing their fathers couldn't do was fly. The way they tell it, their fathers could outswim a shark or outrun Flash Gordon. These fathers were even cooler than Michael Knight off the Knight Rider. And even if those dads were no good, the kids still wanted to be like him. My friends looked up to their fathers even when they made promises they didn't keep. Those fathers had no idea the impact those broken promises had on their children. As a child, I tried to analyze the situation. I wondered how it felt when your hero let you down. How did it feel when your hero didn't honor his promise? What I noticed in my friends was that each time a father made a promise he didn't keep, it left a scar. And every time that happened, more scars ripped through their emotions. And even though some of my friends knew their fathers, I also wondered which was worse, knowing he was there and didn't care, or never seeing him show his face at all. Some of my friends' fathers were forced out by women who, out of their own personal anger or vengeance, prevented them from having a healthy relationship with their children. Many times, these same women use their children against their exes without knowing that they actually were putting them in an emotional roller coaster. And as a result, the children had to make mature decisions at a young age, and often may have felt pressure to choose sides or show loyalty to the parent they quote unquote love the most. Yet, in the midst of all that chaos, at least those children had some type of relationship with their fathers. Any type of relationship with the father had to be way better than not knowing him at all. They knew his voice, his walk, his car, his smell. They can spot him a mile away. Sometimes they look like identical twins. and often the only difference will be the height. I must admit, at times I was a little envious because I wanted that too. Do I look like my dad? I don't know. Do I walk like my dad? I don't know. Do I sound like my dad? I don't know. I wanted a hug. I wanted to hear the words, I love you, son. I wanted to know that when I needed him, I could call. I wanted to make him my superhero.
Wow.
You might want to get your pens ready right now because tonight it's on. Write this down. Write this calling number. 614-577-1434. 614-577-1434. And if you don't really want to call in and ask any questions or give any comments or feedback, you can text 614-377-4592. In fact, listen, I may even give some books away today. I'm in a good mood. I may give about 3 or 4 books of, probably 1 or 2, honestly. And I don't take food stamps. But hey, listen, I want to be a blessing to somebody out there tonight. Before it's all over, I got 2 books I'm giving away.
Amen.
I'm giving 2 books away. And so, what that section I just read before we go into our actual topic, what did y'all think about that?
That was pretty powerful. I mean, it kind of got me off guard because, right now I'm just kind of running off adrenaline because it's surreal what's going on right now. But that was just, how a young man felt without his father growing up. And when dad's not around and you got to look at everybody else in their exciting situations or even their sad times and stuff with their dad, just to look at them, it's just a disappointment. It makes you feel disappointed just in yourself, for your friends and then for yourself. So it's just interesting how everybody just has this being a young person, having a father and you having to really just hold in a lot of feelings and harbor a lot of disappointment and just things that go on in your relationship, or things that you see and you don't see, or things that you want your dad to do and don't do, or him disappearing and not coming home, or just all of that. And that's pretty much all that you want him to be, is just your superhero.
Right.
Like, it just never matters what it is that he could do right, wrong, never matters. It's a little upsetting, but it's wow, you summed it up.
I agree with you. I like it. It's a lot upsetting. This book is going to be a phenomenal movement. And just from that, what you read, it took me back. And I had a question popped in my mind. How do I even want something I never knew existed? How do I want something that that I couldn't even miss? So you was talking about what my dad is like, how the you got the other kids and they got they seeing their dad do this, they seeing their dad do that, and even if they like not there, they seen them, they've embraced them, and they can keep hope. You know what I'm saying? They even know what their dad looked like, and then it's you like, I never even seen my dad's face, never heard his voice. I never hear my mom cuss him out. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even hear an argument. I ain't even heard an argument.
Wow.
I don't even know what I'm supposed to sound like when I get older. You know what I'm saying? So what do I go off? What is going to make me, and what am I going to become? So when I heard that, I'm like, and in that particular passage I've heard before. Thank you. I'm like, what is so at one point it's like I could really make my dad to be out whatever superhero I want. I could make him tall, I could make him buff, anything. It's almost, but it's fantasy. You know what I mean? And with almost a zero chance of coming true. If my dad was there to even promise that he would take me somewhere. You know what I mean? I got something to hold on. It reminds me of I don't know how old y'all out there, but Eddie
Don't give your
Murphy.
age up.
Eddie Murphy, when he was like, "We got some ice cream, we got some ice cream, and you ain't got none." Hey, yeah, my mom with, and even though at some point he dropped the ice cream, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I had it. You know what I'm saying? It was in my hand. The cone was rolling off the ice cream. I felt the waffle cone there.
Okay.
And I can enjoy it. I see you with that ice cream. We couldn't afford ice cream. I just want some ice cream. So when I look at, I never had that to even compare, to measure it to. You know what I mean? What are my chances? What are my chances when I see them, and I see they dad walking to them with them to the bus stop early in the morning.
Wow.
We waiting on the same bus. What if something happened? Is your dad gonna protect me?
Wow.
He might not. Your dad don't even like me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But your dad gonna be there for you.
Wow.
Where's my dad?
Wow. Wow. See, that's why I don't like you that much. When I really think about this, because when I think about this, it seemed like the older and more mature I became, the deeper my wonder. It seemed like the older I became, my wonder deepened, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because first, younger, I had hope of a reality that was prohibited by circumstances that was beyond me. And so I didn't write this book to kind of bash my father,
right,
wherever he is. In fact, I hope he read this book and one day we can reunite and start from here. I'm not saying we're gonna be dogs, we're gonna be
right,
boys and roll dogs and go everywhere and get ice cream. But you got exactly. You gotta start somewhere. And I'm willing as a man, right? As a man, I'm a man now. Right? I'm a boy, Damon. I and I'm just at a place in my life where this has to be addressed. This topic has to be addressed. It is too swept up under the rug, in my opinion, in our country, and especially in economically deprived communities. Mainly, the black and brown communities, if you will, are suffering from the lack of fathers. And when fathers are around, homes are stronger. It's statistically proven. Mm-hmm. When fathers are around, children advance in school. When fathers are around, communities are better and safer and more secure. Not minimizing mothers or women at all, but if we all be honest, and for the most part, some people can try to act all hard or whatever you want to call it, but at some point in your life, whether you had your dad or not, you wanted to be around him. Mm-hmm. I mean, now there's situations out there that I haven't experienced, so I can't really talk about. But as my wonder grew, I became more suspicious, and my wonder grew, my emotions got tangled up in my wonder.
Now, I know you're about to, but I would like for you to go deeper on that last one. Your emotions got entangled in your wonder. Because if I could ask you a question, and all those that's been in our situation, how, and this happened to me, but have you ever been in a place, and I'm talking about a physical, like grocery store, you at a ball game, or you out somewhere, and this is like when you never have met your dad or seen him, and like any one of these, like he could be him. that could be him. You know, when I was younger, there was, you know, my mom would have friends,
if you will.
thank you. And I was curious because I wanted to know, is that my dad? And I'm not coming from a sense that, you know, is this my new dad? But when y'all get done, can somebody tell me if that's, you know, but they always leave with no regard.
Is he the one? Or should I look for another?
Oh, you know. So when you said emotions tied up in your wonder, that struck me because I'm wondering, is that my dad? And now understand, at every no, it draws. It's like a little prick, like, it ain't nobody's fault, right. You know. But hey, I'm a kid. I'm like emotional. I'm like, I want my daddy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you know, being younger, you had cookouts and picnics, and you know, and I love my family with all my heart. I love my entire Dean and Davis family. But you know, most of my cousins that I can think of, they all knew their dad. They were all able to say, "That's my dad," and then they look like their dad. They walk like him.
Wow.
You know, and often they wanted to be like him. I mean, I don't care if he was crazy. All right, I'm gonna do my dad style. You know what I mean? Quote unquote. You know, other cousins wanted to just be like their dad. And as we grew into men, they are doing things their dad did for them for their children. I was left blank. So now, what I'm doing for my kids, I can't mimic what was done for me because it was never done. And so as my emotions tangle up in my wonder, it grew and it took root because I became more sensitive to several things. Number one, I became more sensitive to, will it ever happen?
Okay.
You know, will it ever happen? The second thing I was sensitive to was, do I have siblings? Okay. And then another thing, and I could keep going, does he care? Does he even know I exist? If he didn't know I exist, if I did exist and he found out, would he come and find out?
Good say, would he come save me?
Would he come and save me? Would he be my hero?
So can I say something? For me, it's a little bit different, coming at a different angle, because he was around, so we knew him, but he wasn't stabilized. So it made us unstable in our thinking and in the things that we did. So we were like isolated to a certain degree, you know. So when he did show up, it was like, no, y'all can't do that, or y'all can't do this. You know, it was like, it wasn't that we were shunned because everybody knew us, but we wanted him to be there to play. We wanted him to be there to present us with Christmas, not give it to somebody else to give to us, or for it to be over grandma's house and we go over there and go get it. So all of these things that y'all saying that y'all missed out on, being a young woman and being a lady, thank God. But coming up as a little girl, you know, you want to be daddy's little girl. You want to be daddy's little angel.
Ooh, talk about the girl in you. Talk about the little girl in you.
So it's like, I feel like even with y'all being men, and y'all missed out on some things becoming men without that father figure for me. I missed out on things to become a stronger woman, a more grounded woman. I didn't have that picture perfect or just the daddy that I expected or I just wanted. I didn't have that father to be able to connect with the relationships that I have now, you know, to make the connection, to say, well, my dad, you know, there was like, he didn't give me that time with himself, you know, with us to build that relationship for me to know the do's and the don'ts, for me to understand clearly what to choose, what not to choose, for me to say, okay, well, if you ain't like my daddy, I can't deal with you. You know, if, you know, he didn't create that standard. I had to kind of create it myself, but then I didn't have one. So, and then when I try to develop one, all I'm doing is I'm looking at everything out here. But all the while I'm looking at things out here, as right as some of them were, as wrong as some of them were, I just wanted to try and think and absorb what it would have been like for him to be around. And like, you know what I'm saying? I had to take that myself and just say, okay, well, maybe he would have expected for me to do this, or maybe he would have told me to do this or that this way in this relationship. So let me try that. So over and over again, it's just a vicious cycle. Like it just hasn't stopped, you know, because we were raised in church, but he wasn't in church with us, you know, and I feel like that would have made a huge difference. You know, mom ain't making you sit down, but just the bass and the depth in daddy's voice was what it is that we needed. And we didn't have that. I seen his face. I knew I looked like him. I knew I had strengths like him. I knew I could hustle like him. I knew I had gang like him. You know, I knew my fingers was like him. I walked just like the man. And I knew all of these different attributes and stuff that I had just from him and from his blood, but he never gave me his strength. He never just came and held my hand. He didn't take me to school dances or say, well, you know, this is what you're supposed to do, or you sit like a lady, or you do this. But I tried so hard just by myself to try and figure it out. And that's very difficult.
Let's try to take some callers here, but let me before you say, let me just say this a quick sentence. So we were, and I may be wrong here, but I gotta say this, and I'm talking about us being father, like not seeing him, because we all were fatherless, if you will, but we were filled with wonder. She was filled with hope, because I seen him, so I have something to put my hope into. I hope this will happen one day. In our case, I wonder if this is ever going to happen. If you out there and you listening to this, I know this is powerful. And if you like to call in, listen, call in right now, anytime, 614-577-1434, 614-577-1434. Do I look like my dad? I don't know. And you know, real Rika, you know, Rika is my sister on my father's side. We met, I don't know how many years ago. It's in the book.
15 or so.
We met about 15 years. How old is Sean? Well, Sean was about 3.
Sam was just born.
So however old Sam is, that's
15.
Okay. Sam is 15. So it's been long. High five your neighbor. But I mean, we were in our early 20s when we met, and it's interesting because she see things in me that remind her of our dad, but I can't see it. Cause I be like, do I look like that? Do I like her dad? What do he look like? Like what? Do I talk like him? Do I act like him? I don't. I mean, what? You know how sometimes we have that brother sister conversation because I'm curious. I want to know, like, you know, do I got the hustle? Like, I mean, what is it about me that make you say, this is my brother? I know this is my brother.
Was that kind of directed towards me? Because that's kind of how I felt. But if it wasn't, I'm gonna take it like a champ.
Go ahead. I was just saying and just speaking in general, but go ahead, take it.
Well, I mean, when we met, it was just more like I just felt like it was more on a spiritual level. Something that I believed that I felt like I wanted to, because I yearned for, and I was curious about too. Because on the other side of that fence, we didn't know who else was out there either, because we sure didn't want to talk to none of our brothers and have relationships with our brothers. You know, that was the difficult task for us. So that's why we kind of huddled and we kept our circle real tight, because that was a risk. That was risky. But, you know, just you know, it's interesting because God just, when he lay it on you, you know, he don't always have to lay it on thick. He can lay it on real light, and you just immediately just know, and his presence and everything is just filled in the whole relationship. Like, it's just instantaneously. You couldn't tell me nothing else from that first day.
Wow.
That was just it. It was a given, and I ain't turned back since.
You know, I'm going to change the subject because I'm tough, y'all. I'm tough. Lodge.
So I don't know if we've talked about this before, but if you just now tuning in, I actually met my dad a while ago, probably about almost 20 years ago,
Okay.
probably 18 years ago, whatever, 17, 18 years ago. And it was very slow. Like, it took us years to call and talk because he don't live in the same city. And so,
Hold on, wait a minute. Because he don't live in the same city?
well, let's say it was harder because I'm like you. I'm like, do you know where I'm at? You know, can you get with me? Like, can you reach me? If so, why haven't you? So
Can I just, I want to mess with you, man.
go ahead.
So, and I don't know how I'm gonna say this, but like a father, like once he knew your geographical. Hey, okay. Holla at me.
Hi, this is Ashley. I was calling to leave my comment.
Okay.
Hi, Ashley.
But, okay, can you ask the question again so I can get it straight?
Say that again.
What's the question again so I can get it straight in my head?
Well, I just wanted to get some feedback to see, you know, in terms of what we're talking about, in terms of fatherlessness and pretty much the conversation we having. Just, you know, just your thoughts around what we're talking about in terms of, you know, meeting your siblings, your father being your hero, or just kind of the hope and wonder of, am I ever going to meet him, and those sorts of things.
Okay, well, see, the thing is, so I think the one that I was wanting to call in on is about, like, when you should tell your kids the truth about where their dad went.
Okay. Well, that's coming up second half. That's coming up the second half. So we're about, you know, because I jumped in on this conversation. Stay right there, Ashley. You gonna sing a song for us? You know, I started this conversation because today I just got my books. As soon as I got to the studio, my wife actually brought me one of the boxes of the books, and I just had to read a section out of the book because it just hit me. So it was kind of random. I wasn't expecting to get my books at the studio, and so I just read just a little section, and you know, it just kind of went from there. But we actually going to jump into that conversation in about 10 minutes.
Okay, all right.
So, but since you was the first person to call, Ashley, I want you to call back at the end of the show, or you can call back in 10 minutes, whatever. We can get your information, and I'd like to send you a book.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So Lodge.
Yeah.
Your geographical location, like for me, is like, once you know where I'm at, once that's established, I'm looking for you to home in. You know what I mean? Because at that point, you know, for me, and I'm not like gearing this towards you, but just making a statement. For me, find me. Once you find me, hook me.
Yeah.
Once you hook me, reel me in.
Right. Because if you don't, then what you're showing me or telling me is like you really don't care. Okay, so like even afterwards, I still got that vibe. Like, I really don't care. So we would have phone conversations. I had some zeal because there was another factor here. Okay. I know I got siblings. Okay. So connect me.
Wow.
All right. So, and then, like I told you before, I just met my other siblings. What is this, 2015? At Thanksgiving of 2013.
Wow.
So, you got a caller?
Got a caller. Holla at me. Yo, holla at me.
Holla.
Well, goodbye.
Why people calling got their phone on mute? I'll never understand. But hey, keep them calls coming at 614-577-1434, or if you can't talk, text at 614-377-4592. We're discussing the long-awaited, oh my goodness, What If I Had a Father? The Man I Never Knew book by Mike Dean, and we're discussing fatherlessness, and it's just amazing how you run into people, and because of how we grew up, how many of us didn't have our father, and it became so normal.
Right.
The crowd you ran with didn't have a father. Like, you go to their house and you never reference, hey man, can you come out? Is your mom home? You never ask, is your dad home? And if you didn't know that was their dad, you just think like it's at the same thing it is at your house. That's just another dude.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
We're gonna go ahead and take a commercial break. We're gonna take a commercial break because although we're laughing, we still wrestling with some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're gonna take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna go to the topic at hand. When we come back, we're gonna go to things that make you go, When should a mother tell her child the real reason why daddy left?
Whoa.
See you. Holla at me. Holla.
Over 18 to 24 looking for a change? The Franklin County Youth Board is the place for you. It's known for its healthy family-like environment. You earn while you learn with $1,000 a month earning potential and up to $1,200 towards college. Franklin County Youth Board offers GED prep, career and job readiness, construction training, and placement assistance. Call 222-4705. Stop in at 1394 Road by Round or go to fcyouthbuild.org. Sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor. Franklin County Youth Board is an equal opportunity program. I'm Brian E.J. Robinson, the host of Empowering Your Life right here at the Holy Hills Inn. I invite you to tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. where we will be discussing everyday real-life issues in the body of Christ. We desire you to be free, to live life with power and authority. This show will give you principles and PowerPoints to transform our life from ordinary to extraordinary. So again, I invite you to tune in to Empowering Your Life Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. where we are empowering your generation, one life at a time. And give your heart to the lead to empower your life. Jesus, I was being off the road. I was right now, since I'm being done. If I saw it was enough, I stand on your glory. I was so unfortunately, if my love and for if I saw it was enough, you holla at me. I'd be on a video. I'd be on a video. Holla at me. I'd be on a video. I'd be on a video. Holla at me. Holla at me. I'd be on a video.
Back. We are back, and we talking, you know, about fatherlessness, and just real quick before we jump into our next subject. Listen, my book just dropped today, and listen, what if I had a father, the man I never knew? Look, you can go to my website, deanbooks.com, order your copy. In fact, you can go to any of the major ebook outlets, Amazon, Kindle. You can go to you know, iTunes and Kobo, and you can order it on your mobile device. Listen, you don't want to, hey, listen, this book is off the chain, and I just want you to go out there and just grab as many books as you can. Hey, Rika, we're going into our next segment, but real Rika, what you guys say?
Congratulations, first of all.
Oh, thank you.
But we want to go into the subject at hand, which is things that make you go, Mm-hmm. When should a mother tell her child the real reason why daddy left? Or is it even necessary?
Wow.
Yeah, something even for me to think about.
And we just had Ashley call in, and Ashley, if you out there, you know,
Ashley,
you know, that's a conversation that people don't really want to have. Well, just before we kind of hit that too hard, why don't people want to talk about stuff like this?
One of the key phrases in there in that question is the real reason. They don't want to talk about the real reason. And when I saw that, I'm like, for me, I mean, you'd have to be fighting me every day, nail and tooth, you know, to keep me away from my kids. But if part of that, the real reason is you have a problem, you know, you're hurting emotionally. I'm talking about the mother. You're hurting emotionally from your relationship with this man, or some disappointments that you've had, and using his kids as a punishment for not being able to see them. But you're not going to tell your kids that, because then that will make you out to be the monster. So not discussing it or camouflaging it in a different way would say, okay, that's not the real reason. So this is what I'm telling you. Now, personally, my mom told me the truth, which my mom
Told you the truth.
She told me the truth, and something I couldn't. That's why I never had any animosity towards my dad or why he wasn't there, because, you know, she told me, hey, I left him. I grabbed you, other kids, and we left the city. They actually left the state at first. And so I'm like, okay, you know, didn't understand really why, you know, what was going on in her life and whatnot. And then when I met him, and, you know, he told me a story that confirmed what she told me. So, you know, he's like free of clear of the whole leaving part. My question, you know, for me is, like we said earlier, because I do recall a point, you know, we was downtown at the courthouse, and he had to come down here for child support, where he knew where I was at.
Exactly.
So as far as the real reason, in my case, I was told the real reason. And if I might be honest with myself, I had some animosity towards my mom about that, because of the whole, you know, my daddy ain't here. And come to find out, that you're the reason why he's not here, you know, I have a problem with that. So, I mean, that's the only view I have on it.
So how old were you
When what?
when your mother told you what really happened?
Oh, my mom, it wasn't like a sit down thing. My mom was just gangster. She just said stuff. She just, you know, and I'm like, really? So it was multiple times, you know, probably about 5, 8, you know what I'm saying, 11. You know, it's because, you know, I would ask the question and, hey, you know, I left him, you know, and blah, blah, blah. Now she probably threw something in there to kind of exonerate herself, like, you know, he was clingy or something, you know. But for me, because see, I'm not looking at my brother and all of that.
Yo, holler at me.
This is Ashley again.
Hi, Ashley.
I'm good, thank you. Okay.
So we got you back, Ashley. What's good?
Oh, nothing. It's cold. That's about it.
Oh, so you had a comment on this particular question?
I sure did. Okay, and my opinion is, if a child asks about where their dad went, yes, you should tell them the truth, but it should also be age appropriate. So, like, if I was going to tell my 4-year-old where dad went, I would tell it to them different than I would, like, my 7 or 8-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Why is that?
Well, because I think that, you know, a 7 or 8-year-old can understand more than, like, a 4-year-old can. And so, you know, maybe you could tell your 4-year-old, say, you know, your dad, you know, say he left, you know, for another person. I would tell my 4-year-old, yeah, your dad went to live with someone else, but I think you should tell your 7-year-old straight out the truth. You know, your dad went to be with this other person because, you know, he was, I guess, like, happier with the other person.
Okay.
That makes sense. You know, we had a great conversation about this yesterday, and I think you put the first answer out. Response. You responded first. You said it depends on the age and the maturity level of the child.
Absolutely.
Say what? And then somebody else, you know, I'm just gonna read. I'm not gonna read, but people, you know, and I got some inboxes from people that didn't want to put their business out there, but some of their situations were pretty horrific. About
well, see, mine is too. You know, my kid's dad, you know, he got on methamphetamine. Okay, well, you know, he ended up, you know, leaving us. Well, like I said, you know, my daughter's 7 now, and I have finally explained to her, you know, your dad chose a different lifestyle than what I felt was right for you kids. You know, he chose to do drugs. Now, my little boy, you know, I haven't explained to him about drugs because, to me, I feel he's still too young. But, you know, he understands that dad's gone, but he doesn't understand exactly why. So that's my whole point is I think you should explain it to them, you know, so that they can understand it on their maturity level.
This is an interesting conversation, you know, because, you know, one of the reasons why I posted it, because I wanted to start the conversation. Another reason why I posted it was although the mother has the option to kind of choose when I want to reveal to my child what really happened.
Exactly.
That doesn't negate the want from the child to know. So it's like the curiosity is there, and I think it applies pressure more, you know, when the child comes, you know, keep asking, and the child may not ask every day, but every so often the child may say, "Where's my dad at?" And they may not know, they might not ask the question like, okay, why? In my mind, because when I was asking where my dad was, my mind is, what happened to my dad?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much where is he at, but why isn't he here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's the whole thing with my little boy. You know, it's like, you know, Dad was here and now he's gone. You know, but you know, you just have to explain it to them. You know, in a way that they can understand. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. I just don't believe that you should lie to them because later on down the road they find out what really happened. You know, they may blame the mom and be like, "Why did you lie to me?" So, you know, I mean, it's hard. You know, it's really hard.
Wow. You know, and I want to paraphrase and let me see, Maurice Good, and were you kind of following this conversation last night on Facebook?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And where are you calling from, if I may ask?
Texas, Texarkana, Texas.
Wow. Thank you for calling in and just being a part of this whole conversation. Maurice Good, he was talking about you know, and I'm trying to paraphrase here. He was talking about the emotions of the mother, her kind of being healed. And I'm trying to find what he said. Let me see. I want to read it verbatim because I want to quote him right. Let me see. I'm looking at my notes. Well, what happened? Because he was talking about the emotions of the mother, and because sometimes you know, mothers are bitter. You know, one of the things he said, Maurice Good said, he said, I've seen some of the strongest women break down from that question or become very bitter towards the child for forcing them to relive a decision they would rather put behind them, despite the child being a byproduct of that decision.
Well, see, me, I've never personally felt that way because to me, my kids are like my biggest blessing. So I don't know. I don't know. I've never felt like that.
Well, you seem like a pretty strong woman. You know how to sing?
Oh, absolutely. You know, and I've been through a whole lot. You know, after he left, you know, we had a child die, and you know, everything has fallen on my shoulders. But still, you know, I have a really strong faith in God.
Right.
So,
wow.
So you know, that gets me through. You know, and then plus I have a lot of support like through my church and stuff. So, I don't know, I've never looked at it, you know, as it bothering me. I've always been, you know, I feel like you should just be really open. So, wow. I don't know.
Wow.
That's just me, myself, you know. But everybody, you know, everyone has their own opinions, their own thoughts and things, but that's just me personally.
So what do you think in general for women just throughout the country, just in the world? Like, what do you think? I mean, because I hear where you're coming from, but what would you say to the women out there that really aren't emotionally ready to tell the real?
Well, I guess I would just tell, you know, maybe sit down with your child and just say, right now, mommy's just, you know, really not ready to discuss this with you at this moment, you know. And when I'm stronger and I feel like talking about it, and then, you know, one day we will talk about it, but right now it's just not the right time.
So that's helping somebody right now. Somebody's out there and their child is asking this, and you know the relationship they may have been in may have been abusive. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as I'm sure you'll know, a lot of time meth addicts are abusive. You know, I went through that. You know, with him, and so I know I can understand where these women are coming from, but they have to understand. Take it one day at a time. You know, take as long as you need. And when you're ready and you feel that you're healed, then talk about it. Because that's what's helped me along the way is, you know, talking to people, telling my story, you know, but only do it when you're ready. Never rush it.
Right. Now, you know, and what I want you to do, I kind of got one more comment, but on my author page, I want you to inbox me your information, and I'll have my assistant send you a book, and I'll sign it and autograph it for you, and we'll get a book out to you really soon. But here's my kind of comment, or not even a response, but just something I want to add to this is, what happens, because sometimes mothers keep their children or not want to tell their children the real because he left and went to another relationship, and she was really in love and invested in this man. And so he left and went with a whole nother woman, started a whole life with this woman, and seemingly really engaged in that relationship. And so, to me, things like that play its role. And while a mother would withhold the truth or the real from their child because he hurt me.
Oh, I don't know because, eventually, if the father wanted to be in the child's life, he may take her to court, and then in the end, it's always going to come out some way.
Wow.
And I would rather it come from me than somebody else.
Wow. Okay. Ashley, I really, really appreciate you for calling in, and hopefully you tune in every week. We got some more stuff we're going to cover, but I really appreciate you for calling in, and please just follow those instructions I gave you in terms of the book so we can send you one out right away.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me share my story.
God bless you, and just stay strong and keep following me on Facebook. I appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you, and y'all too. God bless.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
I have something to say.
Okay.
I'm feeling where Maurice was coming from, because I myself I was kind of emotionally distraught, going through that particular situation and being involved in that. But I was just more or less concerned about my kids, not necessarily just the reaction that they would have, like in my face when I'm telling them, just the, what can I say? The concern of a mother when they got a little older or they wanted to go against the grain and, not listen or just be mad or just be just like that. And I didn't want to be that mom, be like, you're just going to be just like him. You're going to do this and do that. I was just concerned for their thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Because they were young boys, and it's to each his own. We was in a different world. We didn't grow up in the greatest community. And my kids didn't grow up in the greatest community. It wasn't all that bad either. But the schools and stuff that they was in, the kids was pretty ill. When it came to talking about kids and what happened and your daddy did this and he did that, they made jokes about stuff like that. And that was hurtful. So I kind of just wanted to refrain from sharing everything, because then they would go to school and say, well, my mama said, and, my mama said to my daddy, and then everybody would know. School counselors, kids come over to your house and they said they daddies did this. And it's like, really? So I was trying to just be real careful on what to say and how to say what I said to my kids. And then as far as, me being emotionally kind of discombobulated, I was distraught for a long time. So whenever the conversation came up, it would almost make me emotional. Like it would give me anxiety. I would just sit and be like, oh my goodness, I hope that they're not going to keep asking me the same question over and over again, because I don't know how to answer the question, but yeah, she's right. To each his own. It just, that was her situation. I just prayed about it. And over time, it just, it kind of helped me. It helped me to better understand clearly what it is that I needed to say to my kids, instead of just saying, sorry, son, but your dad, he was on drugs and, whatever. But then when they did ask me, after so many times of asking me and so many times of asking me, finally I said, okay, well, you're asking me a question that you can kindly ask him. So I gave them the number. You're asking me why he's not here, because he don't want to be here. So everything he chose to do, or, to absorb and to do whatever it is that he wanted to do out there on the streets. And, some of it he brought into the house or whatever, and I just wasn't having it. But ask him that question, because I didn't have that to do. After a while, it was so emotional. The roller coaster the ride was getting too bumpy for me. And I got tired of crying. I got tired of feeling some type of way. So finally I said, well, here, Call your dad. Ask him. I mean, it is what it is. Ask him the answer to that question, to that golden question, because I didn't know it.
Wow. Wow. So somebody inboxed me on Facebook, and you know what? I'm tired of you, because you too deep for me. I'm teasing you. Real Ricky, you a beast. Blow it up. I got an inbox a couple moments ago, and somebody asked, and I'm paraphrasing the question around mothers keeping their child away because of he jumped into another relationship. And so I don't know if it's jealousy. I don't know if it's just like the phrase you use, feel some type of way that, hey, I'm not letting my child be in your life because you hurt me. And in fact, I've seen that throughout my life when I've seen my mom do that to my stepdad. And you're not seeing your kids. You can't come in, and when a man really loves his kids, because there are many men out there. Come on, y'all. There's many men that are daddies that want to be a part of their children's life, regardless if they are in the house or not.
Right.
And so when that type of man is halted at the door by a woman that said, you can't see my babies, and in her mind, it's and this is my opinion, this is what I saw. This is the only way I can make you feel what I feel. Because I hurt, I want you to hurt. And there's a saying, hurt people hurt people. So I don't know, what is y'all take on that? And again, you can call 614-577-1434. Brother, can we do like 15 more minutes, past our time there? Because I want to close this out right. And if you want to text in 614-377-4592. And we on Holy Hills Radio. Come on, the best radio station on the planet. So listen, we blowing up here. So hey, what y'all think, man? Come at me. Holla at me.
I'm thinking a couple different things. I'm thinking some of them women probably didn't have a father themselves for them to understand, you know what I'm saying, and grasp, oh, okay, I'm not going to keep my kids from their dad. That's just wrong. Or my dad did this for me and that for me. Some women are envious, just because they want to try to get you back. They want to wheel you in. So they figure if I can just dangle your kids around, then they're going to come and running back because they want to see their kids. Wow. But what they don't understand, a lot of times that pushes them away to the point where they'll go create a whole nother situation. Oh. And then who's going to be laughing? Wow. You know what I'm saying? Then it ain't going to be no envy. Then you're going to have some serious mental issues because you done created a whole nother situation. So then you're going to have your kids going to ask you that same grand question that we've been talking about for the last few minutes. Wow. Why did he leave? What was the real reason he left? And because sometimes as I won't say women, well, let's say it. But sometimes women have a tendency to force the guy to go do some things because they're not taking care of the situation rationally. They're not thinking on their toes. They're not thinking of the future or even just the here and the now or how they're hurting the kids or how they're breaking the relationship just in one moment in time when you just feel like I'm going to close that door. What if that child was crying at the door? Like, I just want to see my dad. Is that okay? Now you got that child caught in the balance, in this whole situation that don't even make no sense. At the end of the day, you got to start asking yourself questions. Quit worrying about what somebody else going to ask you. Ask yourself some questions as to why it is that you did that.
I like how you saying that, and I do. You making a powerful point. But as a child, I watched my mom cry when he left. I'm talking about my stepdad. When he left, the whole atmosphere of the house changed. It went from kind of a happy home type feeling to a hellhole. To her whole demeanor, it was like she had this residual period. You know what, I said it wrong.
Continue.
Or did I say that on the air? It was
said 30-day
I'm
period.
saved now. But I mean, literally, I mean, it was it was darker in the house. She would watch a lot of chick flicks. She didn't cook full meals. You know what I mean? It would be like kind of quick meals that she would make, and y'all eat this, and she would just kind of go in her own little, you know, she just wasn't happy. But then when he came around, it was like, okay, you can't see your kids. And to me, that was one of the things. If I dangle your, like you said earlier, if I dangle your kids in your face, at least I got you around for 2 weeks. At least for 2 weeks, I got, quote unquote, my man. And when he tries to go, I'm calling child support. I'm this, because in my mom's mind, and I'm presupposing, no, I'm not. He was going to another family. You know, he had another family. He had another girlfriend or something on the side, because we weren't seeing for a while. And then boom, you know, he come back. I'm back, and she knew that, but she'll take it back. And many women, in my opinion, that got something to do with their self-esteem, something to do with their own inner fatherless or abandonment issues that they suffered maybe as children. And so for me, when I looked at my mom, it hurt me to see her hurt. So I knew the dude really wasn't trying to be my dad, but I was sad for them because they screaming, "Dad!" And she like, you ain't seeing them, but they reaching their arms out. And so now my mom depriving this dude from a relationship with his children, and at times she'd be like, all right, go with your dad. Y'all getting on my nerves. Go with your dad. And he would leave, but when she felt like holding those kids against him, she did it. And there's many women out there, even now, probably even listening to this show on Holla Me on holyhillsradio.com. You probably out there, right? Look at that. I done struck a nerve. Hey, listen, we're gonna go to the phone line. Hey, holla at your boy. I know you got something to say.
Hi, this is Lady Dewan Thomas. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I can't complain. I feel good.
Wonderful. So do I.
Oh.
Ooh, fuck our country.
And you know you get a book. So inbox me on Facebook your information, and we'll get you a book.
Oh, wonderful. Looking forward to reading it.
Oh.
Congratulations on the book.
Thank you. God is good.
Amen. Amen. He really is.
So talk to me. Holla at me. What's on your mind?
Well, you know, your wife posed the question earlier in regards to when would be a good time to tell your child about, you know, the reason why their father isn't present, if I quoted that correctly. And I just commented because I grew up in a single parent head household. And, you know, my mom, she never said anything bad about my father. Praise God for that.
Right.
And, you know, that was a good thing. But what's a good time, you know, as far as my personal situation was, you know, when we asked questions, and then when she used the discerning of the spirit, a discerning heart, a discerning mom, when she felt was the time to share with us. My brother and I are 8 years apart, so obviously she couldn't tell us the same things because of the differing age gap between us. But that's what she did, you know. And my father was a gospel artist, so you know I would see him on television. So I had lots of questions, and but she never said anything bad about it. And she always used this little slang, and it's still old school. You know, you can get more flies with honey than you can with vinegar, and that was something that stuck with me obviously till this day, and I'm 51 years of age.
Wow. So
I still have, you know, I just thank God for His Word, which really helps me because John 8:32 says, "The truth shall set you free." And you know, hearing the truth through His Word, and that God being my ultimate Heavenly Father, is what's kept my heart through various stages of my life. You know, being a teenager, a young adult, you know, going into marriage, being a parent, you know, being married 25 years, and now recently in the past, say 6 or 7, 8 years, my father is now in my life.
Wow.
A whole nother season. That's a book within itself.
Please write it.
You know, that's a whole nother season. And I don't know how much time I have to spend just to never be there for the major milestones in my life. Graduating from high school, graduating from college twice. You know, celebrating things that I've done as a good mom, as a good wife, my wedding, childhood baptism, those kind of things. So there are a lot of wounds there, but thank God that He's able to replace and heal the broken spots.
Wow.
That my earthly father wasn't there for. So, you know, I just thank God that I really have a heavenly Father, and I have a real and authentic relationship with Him, that He was me, because if not, I would be a wretched mess.
Wow.
You know, a wretched mess. So.
Wow. You know what? I just want to ask you to do something for me, because as we start winding down, I just want you to speak to the women out there, even men that are dealing with the situation we're having a discussion about. Just kind of what kind of encouragement, some type of encouragement and words of wisdom that you would like to share to people listening all over the world.
Wow. I'm going to just share just briefly that we have, my husband and I, blessed with 25 years of marriage. We have 3 children. At the time, our third child was not born. And our middle child was our baby, so she was just a little over a year or maybe a year old. And a relative, and I was born in Brooklyn, New York, grew up between New York and South Carolina. A relative suddenly passed away. And I was visiting with my mom in South Carolina at the time with my older and my middle child. Long story short, I went to this funeral with my cousin, not sure, you know, whether he was saved. I didn't have a relationship with him. But anyway, his service was in a funeral home. And the pastor, who I'd never seen, didn't know half the people that were there except my family. He preached a sermon out of Psalms 23. And Psalms 23 is that psalm that most people know is the Lord your shepherd. And when I left New York, going from New York to South Carolina back to Dallas, Texas, my husband was studying at the time in seminary, that rested in my heart. Is the Lord really your shepherd? And I didn't have a relationship with my father at that period of my life. And so God impressed upon me to write a letter to him at the last on the dress that I had. And it was like a therapeutic letter, just to say, God, you really are my father, my shepherd. And I had to replace the feelings that I had for my father in writing, and I had to mail that letter, never knowing until maybe 15, 20 years later that he got the letter and never responded. That's another story. But because I did that, I was feeling like I was set free. That was the first baby step in my young adult life, even as a mother and a wife, to say, God, I'm replacing the empty places of not having an earthly father with you, my heavenly Father. And I actually wrote that in a letter to my father. And that helped me. That helped me transition some feelings that I was having. As a woman, you know, I can speak to that, you know, I long for that relationship with a man who didn't long for a relationship with me. But I'm so glad that when I gave my life to Christ, that I knew that he was able to fill the void that I was feeling because of his love for me. It's so unconditional. So I hope that helps somebody.
Wow.
And it really blessed me. I'm telling you. And this is another part of the story that I can't even get into. When he did get the letter, wow, that's another story I can't even go into right now. So I don't know how much time you have. But there you have it. So I just pray that really blesses somebody, that make God your heavenly Father, and he can replace the void. He can definitely replace the void.
Amen.
Wow. I appreciate you so much for calling in. Just remember, just to inbox me, you know, your information so we can, you know, get you a book and you know, just be a blessing to you. So
I'm looking forward to it. God bless you. May God continue to bless the ministry.
Likewise. Thank you. Keep us in your prayers.
I shall. You do the same.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, this is real. This is real. And as we digress, right, and we kind of close this session out, and I want to appreciate Holy Hills for giving us. Okay. Holla at me.
Hey, good brother, how you feeling? This is your brother from New York.
Are you just trying to call me on my cell?
You know, I'm numbers mixed up, man. I'm old.
Hey, you still a baby, man. Hey, give us some wisdom, man, as we close out. I know something on your heart.
Okay, man, it's such a deep topic. Just the whole fatherless child. You know, just that concept is deep within itself, and could take decades to resolve. But that conversation within the conversation about when is the appropriate time for a mom to tell her child the truth about the father. Wow, that is ooh, because it starts with mom. You know, as I said yesterday, mom has to be in a place of healing, or she has to have been healed and resolved any pain that this male, because he's definitely not a man, any pain that male has caused her, so that when she's sharing this information with the child, she's not hurting the child by telling the story, you know. And so it starts with mom. You know, mom has to be in a place where she's at peace. Because if mom ain't at peace, you know, then how she shares the story is going to impact the child. So mom has to, number one, mom has to be at peace. And that may take her being able to go to, you know, especially in our community, we don't like to talk about therapy, but, you know, therapy, it works. Being able to share, being able to talk to someone about pain that you've experienced can heal within itself. So, you know, it starts with mom.
Wow. And that, you know, and the way you say that, we boys. It's easier said than done, because that's a lot of weight on mom when she already has to deal with the daily activities of taking care of the child or children. So just the pressure of, keeping the house clean, making sure the meals are prepared, paying the bills, going to work. Many single mothers, depending on when they had their children, because many single mothers that had children at a young age and didn't go to college or able to finish high school are not working a type of job that is able to pay enough money to make ends meet. So some mothers have to work multiple jobs just to make ends meet and not even have enough, time to even spend for themselves to even reflect, rehash, and just digress and process even her own day.
And so, you know what? You touched on something really deep, but also what I've experienced, and I'm just going to share a little. Like, I went through a very painful divorce, and in that process, I felt like my ex-wife stripped me of the very thing that I had worked really hard for, which was my family, right? And what I created was a fathers group at my former job. And, because I was in pain. I did it, I ain't gonna lie to you, I did it for all the selfish reasons. I did it just so that I could have a platform to share my pain, right? Because I knew if I didn't share it, I was going to prison. And what I realized was that there was a lot of brothers who was carrying their own buckets of water of pain, right? And so through that process, what I've learned is that group, sisterhood, brotherhood groups can be very therapeutic. So we don't have to, if we don't have the funds to go to therapy, just being able to share with people that genuinely care, and being able to just let it out, cry some, hug some, take in some advice, because there are a lot of sisters out here in our community primarily who are in pain. And part of that pain is the pain that they see that their child is going through as a result of this male, right? And so this male, if I'm mom, this male hurt me, right? He hurt me, and now I'm watching him hurt my child. And there's only so much that I can do. Yeah, I can cut him off and say, you can't come to my house and all of this. But then, as my child gets older, now he tells my child, oh yeah, your mother didn't want me to come around, and and that's why, she kept me from you, which isn't the truth. Mom was trying to protect her cubs, but he flipped it because that's what he feels, right? Irresponsible males, they manipulate, they know how to flip the script. And so mom and her protection ended up becoming the bad person, the bad guy. And so now you got this child who's harboring these ill feelings towards mom until they come fully into their adulthood and realize mom was the protector, and this guy is just a piece of scum. But by that time, years and maybe even decades have gone, have passed, and the child and the mom has gone through this pain. So they've been re-hurt as a result of this guy. So, like I said, we have to be able to heal ourselves. And one of the ways to do it is through support groups. If find some people who are going through what you're going through and just be able to, do some things together, be able to share over pizza, what have you, and it works.
Woo! I'm tired of you, right? Wow. I really appreciate you, man, and I look forward to being in New York in a couple weeks, man. And I really appreciate your future hospitality.
Oh man, we family, that.
And we got to close this broadcast down, but let me say this. I appreciate your wisdom. I mean, you share some things in terms of support groups and getting therapy. The first lady before you called talked about, really finding your place in God and finding peace in God. In my life, I was able to do a mixture of both.
That's right.
And I gave what I could to God, because if we be honest, sometimes it's hard to give our problems to the Lord.
Right.
Because it's not that we don't believe. Sometimes we just don't know how.
Right.
And sometimes we are afraid to let our hurt go because we don't want to be hurt again.
That's right.
And so, man, again, I really appreciate you, man. And we'll holler offline, man. And I want to continue this conversation on Facebook. If you're out there, listen, man, we're going to throw some quotes out there with some comments out there. And I just want you to continue to chime in on this conversation, as well as go to my website and grab my book, deanbooks.com. You can download it right now and start reading tonight. And as you read, give me feedback on each chapter you read, and just let's spark the conversation, because like Brother Maurice said, look, we creating a support group of hundreds and thousands of people to say, hey, I'm hurt. Somebody else said, I'm hurt too. And somebody else saying, hey, I'm at a different level in the process. So what are your experiences that helped you get to this place? And so being able to share and receive and give and receive to help each other move forward, so that we can even help the process of our children growing up throughout their lives and become better and emotionally grounded people. Because if you don't deal with these issues, your emotions will be all over the place, and not being able to manage your emotions is a whole nother conversation, if you will.
Amen.
Whew. So, Brother Mo, man, I appreciate you, man. I got to let you go, but we'll holler a little bit later, okay?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, love you, man. Thank you.
You, man.
My boy Maurice Gibb, all the way from New York City. We had Ashley call all the way from Texas. We had, First Lady call all the way from the Buckeye State, the Ohio State Buckeyes, the national champion.
Yes.
I may add, listen, man, this is real. We ain't coming to play games. And as we close this conversation tonight, and I appreciate, can we just give Holy Hills a round of applause just for allowing us to just have a few more minutes to tap into, really tap into a conversation that hasn't really been had over the airwaves. I haven't heard anything like this. And to be able to come on and say, man, this is how I feel. I was hurt. I was molested. I was broke. My dad wasn't there. My mom did this. I'm a mother, and I'm the one that's keeping my kid away because he hurt me. Mm-hmm. You know, we're creating that platform, and God has allowed us to do so. We're not calling ourselves experts or anything. We just know we want to share the love of God through our experiences and through the experiences of others in our society and on a global level. This is not a talk show or a radio station that's just in Columbus. This is a global station that is being played. All people in Nairobi is listening to this as we speak. So don't take this lightly. People all over the world needs this message. So listen, man, I love y'all. And listen, I'm about to close this out. I just want to say a quick prayer and just bless you all through the love of God. And we're just gonna pray, because many people out there, you just hurt. You just hurt. And I just wish the best for you. So I'm gonna pray. Father, I thank you for just giving us the mind, giving us the energy to stand up and say, we need better. We want better. And God, through you, right? We are more than conquerors. And God, I just want to ask you to do me a favor and touch that woman that is hurt because she's hurt because she's in an abusive relationship. Touch that man that's fighting for his kids because his ex-wife or girlfriend is keeping his children away. God, break the chains and the cycle so that we can be a community that creates hope and reconnection through your power and through the love of mankind. And God, as I conclude this prayer, God, just do me one more favor. Touch our hearts, heal the broken places, and give us strength and shalom. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Until next time, or holla at me. I'll see you next time. God bless you. See you soon.